What's going on, guys? Bingo here. I'm with the Duel Factory for episode 3, season 2 of X-2 Drop. This is our Yu-Gi-Oh podcast we do every week, talking about anything relevant or whatever the hell we feel like talking about. And this week was a huge week because we got the ban list reveal last Friday, and it takes into effect when this goes live, Monday the 20th. And it was a massive list. Everybody should already know it, so we're not going to break it down piece by piece. That's been done a million times. But what we do want to do is focus on what we think is viable, as well as just where we think the meta is going to go, and the power ceiling of the decks that are going to be meta relevant. So, Joe, I'm going to ask your initial thoughts of the ban list first, because we haven't talked about this on the podcast yet. So what did you think initially?
Well, I'm still in mourning. My boy's gone. Or in this case, my dragon.
Yeah, but, you and me both.
It gives me flashbacks of 2013 September ban list, when everything got murdered. Like murdered. And this is kind of the same thing, because if I remember counting right, there was 32 total changes on this ban list. And, it wasn't all bad, but, it's going to be a new format like we wanted. I just don't know what we're going to go with at that point.
Yeah. Now, I honestly think it's still gonna have a shell of the previous format, but we'll get into that in a little bit. But yeah, the list was overall as close to a hard reset as they could do. They were a little lighter on some of the decks, but overall it basically says stop playing these old decks, buy our new product. But there was a lot of nice quality housekeeping hits that needed to happen because they were just out of control, right? As a thought, and just fucking not Brilliant Fusion, but
not Brilliant Fusion, but I mean, you still had Orchest, everything going around as a thought before comboing, bonus cards.
Yeah, engage.
Tons of bonus cards.
But as far as the overall ban list, I'm happy with. Obviously, seeing engage go straight to 0 hurt my heart a little bit. Doug, the page wouldn't load, and Doug had it loaded, and he posted all the hits. And after he posted, he's Thunder Dragon ban, Engage ban, and then 3 down, he's Electromite ban. I'm all right, now he's just fucking with me, because that was so unexpected. So I'm I gotta get this page to load. But unfortunately, Sky Striker, I honestly, and maybe with the new cards and but you don't get your advantage train, so I don't think it's going to be anything above Rogue at a regional as far as tier goes. But the what is it, Sieg, the Link 2, that is a good card, and Rose is a good card, but you lost Engage.
Yeah, you have no Engage. Congratulations, you have 3 Kagari, yeah. But what are you gonna search?
3 Kagari. If we had double Anchor, I would have higher hopes for the deck, because you could be more loose with your Widow Anchors. You can set one off multi-roll and still be able to play late game. But right now you have maximum 2 searches per turn, and that's if you're going second with Hayate. It's just not there is no advantage. It's kind of like when Spellbooks lost Judgment. The all the other cards are still exactly the same, but you lost the fucking piece that made it busted.
Oh yeah, well, I think it's actually more extreme, because at least Spellbook was still somewhat playable, because you still had search cards.
Yeah.
This deck doesn't even have a search cards. They just they neutered it to the way where it's I don't want to say it's unplayable, but it doesn't have a lot of high points going for it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You have 3 Kagari, but you have 1 multi-roll, you have 1 Horn Drone, you have no Engage. It'll be a good stun deck. I think it'll be a really, really good stun deck, but that's about it. That's all it's got going for it.
Yeah, it is still hard to kill through Ray for a lot of decks going first, but you only have I'm not counting Area Zero summoning Ray. You only have 4 copies of Ray in your deck versus 7, right? And that's massive. So I mean, we'll play Rose, but Rose doesn't have like it's not the same effect. You can't Ray summon and then go into Kaina to not die.
Yeah, follow me here. You ready for it?
Yeah.
We replace Engage with Extravagance.
All right. We'll put that idea on the board. But honestly, I do feel like there's something left with Striker, but I don't know if it's meta. You know what I mean?
No, I feel you on that one. I mean, I'm in the same boat. I have this this sweet pile of Thunder cards that literally makes nothing now. Like, oh great, you can do Titan Turbo. What does that really do for me? Let's be real here.
Yeah, and like
the best way to make Titan is now gone.
Yeah, and Titan Turbo isn't even that viable because like if there was another like easy to summon Thunder Dragon fusion, like even if it was a vanilla, it's just like a 3200 vanilla, and you could make Titan with that, like the deck would be better. You only have 2 ways to make Titan basically per turn because Instant Fusion and Thunder Dragon Fusion, and one of those is unsearchable. So Thunder might still be played as like a combo engine like in something else because the cards are pretty good, but as far as like pure Thunder, I don't think it's relevant at all anymore.
I don't know. I might play around with it because I really like Thunder, but like it's just more like you were saying, it's just a supplementary engine for like Chaos Engine. Yeah. Because like to be fair, the whole reason that made the Thunder engine good and like combo Thunder and everything is like you got advantage off of like banishing and banishing Dark and all that fun stuff. So you just generated an advantage. So that's where it's coming down to. And Colossus was just the best card to pair with the rest of it.
Yeah.
But it's gone now, so you can't do that. It's kind of like the same with like Sky Striker. Like you can't just like engage off of engage. Like that's just not happening anymore. So it's like those two happen. So
banishing Roar and Dark it's still extremely powerful, and Hawk is still a good card. It's just making Titan is difficult. Like they can still be used as a sub engine, but it just doesn't do enough on its own. So we'll still see Thunder cards at least messed around with at the beginning of this format, and if somebody smarter than me figures it out, then good for them, and we'll still see it. But at least Colossus is done hurting the rogue decks. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but can we talk about how degenerate the TCG is and how we got all the decent draw cards put to one other than Extravagance and Desires?
Oh, we'll get there because I got some words to say about that.
We're really just a filthy group of degenerates. Like, come on now.
All right. I definitely have some words about that. But, all right. Salamangreat, I think out of all of the decks, it's on par with, like, Orcus as far as still being playable. The deck's already adapting because, I mean, Stalio was good for breaking boards, going second, as well as obviously establishing your combo on its own, but it's not the only way to play, right?
I don't know, man. I feel like that Stalio was like probably one of the most crucial vocal points of the deck because like that just got like the card that lets you regenerate advantage with Sunlight Wolf out every single turn, and now it's just gone. Like, don't get me wrong, like using it to bounce cards and breaking boards like was important, but like being able to summon like Jaguar for free or being able to tour out Gazelle when you didn't have it, like that was huge. And I don't know how you really adapt from that, because I've seen builds while they're maxing out on the trap cards now, and then like they're making Dante and just milling cards and stuff like that, and just trying to get lucky, mill it, and then just add it back with Sunlight Wolf. But like, it's not going to be the same whatsoever. And I think it's enough of a power down of the deck to knock it down a tier. But I'm not 100% sure on that one.
Yeah, I mean, for sure, the deck is going to be in the first stage of this coming format. Like, no questions asked. People are going to play it. It's reliable, and it's still relatively the same deck to an extent. So until something really establishes itself, I think players are going to gravitate towards it because it still can do a basic combo and it's almost the same. Like we were talking about the other day. There's that level 6 Fire Fist synchro.
Brotherhood of Fire Fist Horse Prince.
There's the rank 3 Fire Fist card that adds back. Doesn't it add back a fire monster from your grave or something?
Yeah, your Lion Emperor.
Yeah, so there's other things they can mess around with. Obviously, they're not archetypal cards, so you can't like return them from the grave to get your summons back or your resource game. So it is different, but I think it's going to be messed around with for sure.
I don't know. We'll see. They did get 3 debug back, so that's kind of good for them. So like the consistency's there. I just don't know if the actual playability's there. Yeah. That's where the big difference is.
All right, and then Orcust, and I think we can all agree that the deck is still playable. It didn't really lose that much. Like it did lose the best main, or one of the best main deck monsters that really established like your easy combo. But now it's just like instead of investing 1 or 2 cards, you're gonna have to invest 3 or 4 to ensure you do everything you want to do.
I think it's just enough to tone it down though, because like the best part of Harp, right, was it put an Orcus monster on the board from the get-go, right?
Yeah,
like that's what it did. But now you don't have like access to that. Like you still have like Nightmare, which I think is the best out of all of them anyway, because it's access to any single Orcus monster in your deck. But now like I've seen like a lot of decks like they're going back to playing Brass Bombard, but that requires you to have another Orcus monster in hand, and like
yeah,
I don't know.
Requires more setup.
It's enough.
It requires more setup, and it's more reliant on, I'd say, the normal summon cards like Mathman and Armageddon Knight and Grapher. But and it also makes the deck way more susceptible to one form of interruption. Like if they manage to get Nightmare in the grave, and you hit that with Ash, that can just end their turn.
I think it also became a lot more susceptible to Called by the Grave too.
Oh, definitely.
Because of that card's gone. Because now you don't have multiple ways to play. You only really have like a straight and narrow play.
They only have 4 grave effects that they can activate per turn, counting Brass Bombard. And like if you have an Ash or even like a Bell or a Skullmeister, I know those were kind of relevant in the last format. Like it can just shut everything down
immediately off 1 card.
So, Dingirsu is still freaking amazing, and once the engine is online, like it's not gonna have any issues continuing play. Having like you said, Nightmare's busted. Galatea's if they have Babble Up is just like an insane recursion engine, and Dingirsu's just as powerful as ever.
Oh, they got new tricks to play with too, because they got the rank up magic bag, so you can actually do the calamities.
Yeah,
you can do calamities again, so that's kind of scary.
It'll be interesting to see if they do incorporate like a PK engine with the deck just to get to that. But is there any way that you can think of outside of like spell cards like Foolish to get those cards in the graveyard easily?
I mean, you can focus on more level 3 build that lets you make Cherubini to send Boots, and you can kind of do it that way. But I'm just trying to think of how you get a name on the field to make advantage of it.
Yeah, I mean, the issue I see with that is then you're focusing like how do you get that and your Orcus engine online?
Yeah, it's probably one of those things where it has to be solved first.
Yeah, I agree. That
there's a lot of tools to use there.
That
a lot of tools.
That rank up spell just being in the format is probably one of the things that I don't really agree with because of Orcus still being relevant and having access to that, as well as like other decks, Pendulum specifically with Caliuga. So like I feel like Lunalight Orcus can just make like any maybe not Lunalight Orcus anymore, but Lunalights are an advantage engine, and they can make Curious and set up a level 7 somehow. I don't know.
You can set up a lot of stuff. It gets kind of scary. Well, actually, one more thing about it, you might actually still be able, because that's something that scares me, is that the ban list didn't touch the Lunalight engine at all. And like like you're saying that that's just Advantage City. Like all you do is just put free monsters on board, and then it gets freer and freer and freer. And then the revision of 2020 is coming in April, and you're not going to be locked out of the extra. That's kind of scary that Konami didn't do anything with those cards with as many hits as they did, but we'll see.
Yeah, I mean, you can argue Into the Void was a hit for Luna Orchest, but that's just a general housekeeping. Like that card is just Upstart and the more degenerate combo decks that happen, and it's just like Upstart when that was found. Like, oh, this card's insane. If I play 3 copies, and it just took the TCG a couple more years to figure out a card that's the same, you know.
Exactly.
All right, so
that's all a bunch of degenerates. That's
it for really like the main 4 decks. There's a couple other things we're going to talk about here in a minute, mostly the draw spells, but I still like I'm going to mess around with Sky Striker because just like you're going to mess around with Thunder, I just don't want to let it go yet, so I'm going to see if I can make it work. Onto like this. Oh, go ahead.
Was it worth it?
No, I would rather have 1 Kagari, 1 Engage.
What did it cost you?
Oh man, the memes from this
Say it.
Everything.
Actually, it only cost you 3 Engage.
That's everything. All right. So onto my biggest complaint with this deck or this ban list was Sekka's Light going to 1, and that is because that's not because like it's Burning Abyss. It's not because like I'm playing other stupid decks with it. It's because Konami does this thing where they release really cool, interesting cards where you build a deck around that card. And it has this giant restriction on it. Like, you have to completely warp deck building as a whole. Grasslick Screener and Sekka's Light, right? Those are just 2 extremely good, well-designed cards.
Bro. This has nothing to do with Konami. This is literally everything to do with TCG. Because we're all a bunch of filthy degenerates. We're like, oh, look, we got nothing but draw power. We got nothing but build power. And then we just literally abuse it until Konami finally is forced to do something about it. And that's literally what we did. We literally took this card that was super interesting. He's like, you want to see how busted it is? And Konami's like, nah. And we're like, all right, bet. And then that's what we did. Well, and now we have 1 Sekka's Light.
To be fair.
We have no grass. We have no draw cards. We're literally degenerates.
To be fair, right? Konami TCG is half the reason this card is even relevant on the table, because they're like, we're going to find the dumbest designed TCG exclusive archetype ever and just give it perfect synergy with this busted ass draw card that's coming out, right? And on top of that, we're going to release stupid ass link monsters that just break the game.
I remember when me and Aldo made the joke that all combo decks were just going to move over to 37 card monster decks with 3 draw cards and Sekka's Light. And look what happened. Look what we did, boys.
I mean, it makes perfect sense because it gives you... The Dangers gives you extraordinarily easy access to cards like Curious because they're all different types, same attribute. And like that, surprisingly, wasn't even like in the discussion. Like that barely ever happened. Like, yeah, you would get Curious Griffin comboed every once in a while, but it's just like Boral Sword plus 17 other things turbo, and it's just insane. Honestly, one card I'm really surprised like actually wasn't on the list at all was Destrudo. Because
yeah, that one's kind of a...
That card's just extremely good, and it caused Ancient Fairy Dragon to be banned basically on its own, and it's only going to get better.
I feel like the card's just really good, and it's not like just like good and like specific decks. Like it's just good generic support. Because like it can, if you think about it, it can be played in anything, right? And like it has synergy with all these cards. Like it has synergy with Curious, it has synergy with Greffer, it has synergy with Armageddon Knight,
the Dragon Engine.
So like so many cards to get advantage from it, and it's just a monster that literally it's a free body that hits the field every time it enters the game of play for just half your life points. It's like Solemn Judgment. You can always pay half, so it's like, bruh.
Yeah, and on top of that, it gives you like, if you're playing a rogue, this is usually when it comes up. You're playing a rogue deck, like Yazi into Mare bumps the power level up of rogue decks just like a stupid amount. Right?
Yeah,
Like it's just like it's
to
game. If it resolves, it is game every single time.
Yeah, like you legitimately have a way to kill your opponent now in every rogue deck. Now, granted, you have to play some cards to delete your extra deck, but I mean, you're a rogue strategy at that point, so it doesn't really matter. But like, I don't know, it's in a unique position. I don't know what's going to happen, especially since they didn't touch it. But I mean,
I think with the addition of the new master rule, that card's going to need to be on the discussion block again, because not being limited into a specific zone for, like, you can make Dawn Dragster for a free negate, or just, you know, Yazi anywhere after you bait stuff with like link monsters. It's a lot less restrictive. So I think it needs to be addressed later on. But all right. So I don't want to go over any of the other cards on the list because they're just miscellaneous things here and there. What I want to do is go over what you think is going to be worth playing, worth testing, and like worth talking about in this upcoming format.
so let's cover where 3 decks in my mind stand out right now, like 3 actual decks. So one is Hero, because literally all of its worst matchups literally just got pushed to the side. It just got a new wave of support out of Magical Hero, and the deck was already lethal going second. Bad matchups out of the way, like now it gets a lot better. But I was also like, because I made a video about it earlier, and you'll probably see that sometime later in the week. But tier 1 status yet, because there's so many unknown variables right now. So that was one deck that I was thinking of. The second is Spiral, because it did get some Magician Souls, but Spiral to me still has the same classic flaw that has play all these cards that clump up and I don't think are very good when you draw them in the wrong pairs. So there's that. And then the one deck that didn't get touched but actually got more cards in the form of Solemn Warning is Guru Control. I think that deck got insane with this ban list. But we'll see.
Yeah, I think decks I want to mess around with, especially in a new format, would be a control trap deck, Guru or Geist. I mean, Guru's better than Geist. I don't really care, but they're both worth talking about. Stuff I want to mess around with specifically is some form of invoked deck. That deck is really good when the format's undefined, because it really doesn't matter what your opponent sets up, and I don't think combo is going to be that relevant in the beginning of the format, because when the format is new, people just like, all right, I'm going to play 6 to 9 hand traps just because like I don't know what my opponent's going to be playing, and I just want to make sure that, you know, I slow them down enough to do my mediocre play, right?
Exactly. Gotta slow them down to your pace.
And then Burning Abyss is looking pretty good. Unfortunately, we did lose Sekka's Light, but there's 10 different ways to play that deck. You can play BA Block Dragon.
You got your second copy of the Queen back.
Yeah, Tour Guide is a busted ass card, but still, I don't know the best version to play the deck. Like, I'm messing around with a Phantom Knight build because of, like, I don't know, it just seemed interesting. Block Dragon build.
I don't know, man. Block Dragon BA is like actually scary.
Yeah. Block Dragon,
that deck is.
Block Dragon BA post Master Rule 5 is actually like, it might need to be addressed, because like on paper it just seems just like fucking nuts.
Bro, Dante's an option in that deck. You don't act like it's just a legitimate option. Like, it's like, not make Dante do this. Like, I could make this, or watch me go.
It's amazing because, I mean, you have access to all the rank 3 engine, all the link monsters you want, and a rank 8 engine. And the utility there, you can set up a board because of the link monsters and the rank 8s, and you can power through anything just because the engine is it's just all gas all the time.
All of it. All of it.
And then a deck I want to play, but if the format starts to tilt towards more control, I don't think it's going to be worth playing, and that would be Necros, because, again, that deck really as long as there's nothing like the power level of decks aren't insane, it doesn't really have a hard time going second. And it's just a solid deck to play it for fun till the format.
I think that deck got a lot better too. Like it really did.
It does help that Orcus got hit because Unicorn not negating Dingirsu when it's summoned from grave is a pain in the butt. But if control is like the best deck, it always struggles. You know, if you're not going up against an extra deck base strategy, it is hard to play.
For sure.
And then
Tell you what I really want to play this format.
should all.
Well, other than that, I got 2 Diva back.
Yeah, that was going to be the
Bro.
next one. Honestly, when's the water support come out?
I don't think it's this set. I think it's the next set.
Yeah, the
Well,
April set.
This is really cool because like now I have like 2 of like arguably the best card. Well, Neptibus is always going to be the best card, but Diva gets Neptibus, so arguably they're at the same power level. But like, I haven't got to play multiple Divas since 2013, and I'm so excited.
Yeah,
That's all. Like I got the original tour guide back. It was great. It's fantastic.
this format coming into it is a lot like the format from like I want to say it was like 6 months ago, maybe 8 months ago, where it really just felt like you can play anything at all. I think that was when like Crusadia Guard Dragon was a deck, and like Necros just got their Shrip back, and it was just like you really did feel like you can compete with any deck, and I think that's what it's going to start out as until it kind of defines itself, because all the decks got chopped at the knees and no one really knows what to play. So
It's exciting. It's a brave new world.
yeah, I said it after going over the ban list. I was like, it's a Wild West format, and it really does feel like that. All right, we got like 3 or 4 minutes left. What are you most upset about the ban list?
What I'm most upset about, I'm telling you, nothing being touched on the Lunalight engine. That legitimately scares me. Like, I know it doesn't seem like a lot, but like, that's a big thing to miss with as much Sigil as you touch in the format. Because like, that's Tiger Chick is like, I don't know, infinite monsters, and then like you have the revised Master Roll coming up in a few short months, and it can pump out any slew of rank 4s you want, and it can do anything you want, and it can be splashed in any deck that benefits in playing level 4s and in link materials, and so on and so forth. And I can talk about this on Blue in the Face, but like, it's scary.
I'm going to give Konami the benefit of the doubt, which is never a good idea, because there's another ban list before Master Roll 5, so maybe they'll understand that infinite monsters for a rank 4 engine isn't a good idea, but who really knows? Honestly, I just control not being touched at all kind of bothers me. They got buffed by this. Like
Reboot to 1's really scary.
Like Guru just being at full power is fucking annoying, and Warning being like if they want to, they have 6 ways to stop your normal summon, and it's seeming like a lot, if not all of the decks are going to be extremely normal summon reliant, and that's really frustrating because you can resolve 3 Warning and 3 Judgment if you do it in the right order, you know.
There's a lot of no in the format, you know, like a lot of no.
I really don't want to deal with that. But if there's anything I know about the TCG, it's we would rather combo the fuck off than play control any day.
We'd rather combo than actually deal with the problem.
Yeah. Oh, before we end this, I want to say fucking thank God Dragonic Diagram went to 1 finally. I felt like that was worth mentioning.
No, it's 100%. Like, fuck that card. Like, it had its time. Way more than it should have.
It had since April of 20... No, it was It was before Nats, so it had to be like April or March. It was the set after the
Sugar Jacob
February
players
set.
are the worst kind of people. And you know what? I'm happy they're gone.
Yeah. Honestly, fuck. It doesn't matter to me. Like, I've been waiting for the Earth True King to come back forever, and it cost me 2 Diagram. I don't fucking care. They could have banned Diagram.
It's deserved. It is 100% deserved.
But, guys, those are our thoughts on the new format, upcoming format. If you did enjoy, please check us out every week, Monday 08 on iTunes, Google Play, and like 20 other places. I don't fucking know. If you do want to give us an idea, go on one of our YouTube channels and post it in the comments, and we will consider it. There's quite a few suggestions right now, so we're just kind of breaking through the new news, and then we'll go back to like regular discussions. So, Joe, you got any closing comments?
Douglas French has no sauce.
Piccolo, you have no sauce. Hey.
All right, guys. It's been Bingo in the Duel Factory. This is X2 Drop. I hope to see you guys back here next week. Peace out.
Hey, bye.